It's time for Real Estate 101 with the Karey Brown team from Realty Executives Preferred Advisors.
Good Sunday morning, too. This is Karey Brown, broker owner of Realty Executives Preferred Advisors, and you're listening to Real Estate 101. Today, I'm here with Cody Foster, and he is with Advisors Excel. You're one of the co-owners of the...
That is correct, yes.
I knew that, but I didn't know if anybody else did. So, pretty awesome company. You guys do a lot for the community. You guys are in the process of working on a hotel?
Well, I am. That's one of the things my partners always ask me to clarify anytime I talk to someone, because they get a lot of questions and don't really know the status of it. So, but yeah, personally, I'm involved in building a hotel downtown on Kansas Avenue. So, should be exciting.
Oh, wow. So what's the name of it?
It's called the Cyrus Hotel, so named after Cyrus K. Holliday, who founded Topeka. So
awesome. So what made you decide to get into working on hotels?
Great question. I'm not sure. No, I think a lot of what it was I say a few years ago now. It's maybe been 3 or 4 years ago. They came and talked to us like they did a lot of businesses about this Kansas Avenue redevelopment project, and were asking us to contribute some money towards pocket parks and statues. And I asked the question to the people who had came and asked us for a donation, what's the plan to actually get businesses down there? Because it's great that we redo the street and put statues and pocket parks up, but if there's nothing down there to anchor people coming downtown, it's not just if you build it, they'll come. I think you need to have some people coming too. And I was kind of met with silence a little bit, and I could tell that there wasn't a great plan. So I think in that I saw a lot of momentum going on, and decided that I would look at some ways to invest into things that I think could be some anchors down there. And, we do a lot of hotel rooms here in Topeka. We bring in, I think this year we're on pace to do about 1,600 room nights. So we'll bring a lot of advisors in from around the country. And we've always struggled with finding a good hotel that has good event space, nice rooms, modern, some of those things. So it seemed like a need here in Topeka. It seemed like with proximity to the capital, and also seemed like something that could be an anchor down there. So,
absolutely, you guys are just amazing.
Well, thank you.
So let's talk about investments.
Okay.
First off, you guys don't sell directly to the public, so I'm sure all the time people have questions about investments and things along those sorts. What would you say would be advice that you would give someone?
So I think I should probably put the disclosure. You should always talk to a qualified investment professional. Our compliance department would want to make sure I say that. So this is just a little bit more my opinion. A lot of that depends on kind of where they're at in their life cycle of investment, right? So the advice I would give someone who's 25, 30 years old is significantly different than I would give someone who's retired. But generally speaking, I think probably the most important thing is to do the best job that you can of actually saving, whether that's automating those savings or some of those things. Ironically, talking to you, I think one of the best and easiest ways to do that is to buy a home. Not a shameless plug for you, but I really...
But I do appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's, it's one of the things. My junior year in college, that summer, I bought a house and fixed it up and lived in it for a few years, had a few roommates, paid it down, flipped it into a new house. I think buying a home, especially maybe for millennials, is not as popular as it was maybe for people my age. But it's, in a way, a home's almost like a forced savings plan. So you're going to buy the home, you're going to pay it down over time. It's a great way to start kind of that savings and building your wealth from that standpoint. So, frankly, and not just because I'm on your show, that would be my first piece of advice to anybody is buy a home. So there's a good place to start.
I know with my son, and I've mentioned it a couple of times on the show, but we had an opportunity that you'd be an idiot to walk away from, and he really wasn't sure that he was ready for a home. So then he started looking for rentals. And that versus what he was going to spend for this house, and once the house was renovated, how it was almost double what it was worth as it sat.
Yep.
Good neighborhood, lives next door to an officer, I had sold several houses on the street, so I knew who all lived there. And I'm like, listen, kid, just listen to me.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Did he?
You're not going to go wrong. Yeah, he did. Yeah, so, I mean, there were quite a few things that we had to take care of, but at the end of the day, I mean, he got it for $65. When he flips it, it'll be $120.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the perfect starter house, 3-bedroom. You know, he certainly couldn't have rented anywhere near what his payment is.
Yep.
So it's definitely something to think about. He was 22 when he bought it, and he'll live there for 5 or 6 years probably, and he'll be able to take all that equity and put it in another one.
Well, it's interesting. That's exactly what I did. Mine a little different. I bought mine for $8,900.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it needed a lot of work. Yeah. So, but fixed it up over time. Ended up selling it. I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years later for almost $60,000. And I had it completely paid off. All the renovations paid off, and was able to flip that into a new house. And I've done that a few times where you pay it down. So home ownership, I think, is probably one of the best. And I also like real estate, so that that helps in my belief of that. I mean, the other piece of advice, especially for people starting out, is just max out your 401k. So especially make sure that you're taking full advantage of whatever, hopefully the company you work for offers some sort of match on that, just to make sure that you max it out as much as you can put in there. What people don't realize is if you automate that, like the difference in dollars paycheck to paycheck, you learn to live without it, right? You don't even really notice a difference in that, and that probably more than anything else is going to make a huge difference over the long term.
Absolutely. So what else would you say, starting out, say you're in your 20s, obviously you're talking about the 401k, buying a house, definitely don't look to buy a house like your parents own. It's just not realistic. Even if you did, more than likely you would just be house poor. We're pretty big advocates for making sure that you can afford what you buy. We have spreadsheets set up to where you can go and plug in all your living expenses and then backtrack and say, okay, this is really a payment I can afford. So those things, saving towards your retirement, even if you start right now, you really truly could retire when you're in your 20s if you really started investing and not have to worry about living on Social Security. Because they say my age demographic, there won't even be Social Security. Whether or not that's true or not, that's been a buzz for years.
Yeah, I've heard that since I've been in the industry, financial services, since '99, so approaching 20 years, and I've heard that since '99.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those, politically, that's a pretty hard thing to take away. Now, granted, something's going to have to be done around it at some point in time, right? It's not sustainable the way it is today. And the truth is about Social Security, it was never designed to be our primary source of income in retirement. It was really designed as a supplemental source of income. It was, frankly, FDR implemented the program to encourage older workers to retire. So it was kind of a supplement to what they had already put away. But, one of the biggest challenges and we talk about it a lot because really we don't do anything directly with the consumer. We work with advisors. So we're kind of the back office for financial advisors all across the country. Most of their clients are retirement age. And the thing that people don't realize is that pensions, like my dad worked for the city for 30 years. He has this, kind of great pension where his money was guaranteed. Those are kind of a thing of the past now. So there's more and more pressure on individuals to manage, which is kind of a scary thing, right? Instead of letting these big corporations that manage money professionally manage it, we've put all the onus on, the individual and force them to save and force them to manage. So it is really important to save. You're probably going to need a lot more than you realize. But the sooner you start, I think the point that you made, there's this thing called compounding interest, which is really a powerful force in the investment world. So the sooner you start saving and you can compound that interest, the better off you're going to be, once you get to that age where you want to retire.
Absolutely. I know if I had better advice whenever I was in my 20s, I came from a farming community. They all thought, well, I'm just going to work till I'm dead anyway. Unfortunately, quite a few did.
Yeah.
So It really kind of boils down to how you're raised. A lot of people aren't taught that that's what they're supposed to be doing. And, home ownership to a lot of people just seems like a dream. It's not something that's ever going to happen for them. So really, I just truly cannot express enough that you're the person that designs your destiny. You're the one that should be taking those steps, not really counting on somebody else to do it for you. And there have been businesses to where they did not allocate their funds correctly. Maybe somebody embezzled or, retirement. So definitely paying attention to your retirement. I know that's happened to local businesses here where retirement did not go where it was supposed to go, and people missed out on it. They didn't get it.
Yeah, that's also a good point. I think one of the benchmarks of building a great plan is, and you hear diversification. In our industry, we call it asset allocation. So how do you allocate your assets out? And I think most of the time when you see those types of things happen, it's either, the employee had all their retirement maybe in the company stock or things like that, or were really overweighted towards a few things. And that's the other thing, that if you look over the long term, having a well-diversified portfolio is probably your other big key, right? You don't ever want one thing to be able to take your savings down from that standpoint. So, start paying yourself, make sure you automate some of those things, max out your 401k, and then have a well-diversified portfolio, whether that's your, working with the people that either support your 401k or you're working with a financial advisor. Pretty important.
Absolutely.
Piece of advice.
So what would you say is your best advice, in your opinion, got to get those clauses in there.
Yeah.
For selecting a financial advisor?
So a few things there, actually, and I think it's one of the more important decisions you can make, right? Is because the quality of people you surround yourself with can make a big impact on your retirement. The financial advisor you pick being primary in that. So first, find someone you trust, and one of the things I like to say is trust but verify. So there's a lot of resources out there where you can go check up on a financial advisor and make sure that not only do they say they're honest and ethical, but they actually are that way in their business. So if you go to finrabrokercheck.com, you can research an advisor, see if they've had any complaints or regulatory history. You could call the Kansas Department of Insurance, the state securities regulators, and just check up on them. Also, I think finding maybe someone that you trust that works with an advisor, if they have recommendations, is a great way. And then the other thing I would say is, depending upon, going back to what we talked about in the beginning, where you're at in that life cycle of investing, finding the right advisor for where you're at in that life cycle. What I mean by that is, if you're in your peak earning years, what we would call kind of the accumulation phase, there's certain advisors that spend more of their time working with people in that phase. Going back to kind of what I mentioned, and we have several advisors here in Topeka that we support, that we work with, that are independent. They really focus on people that are in the retirement phase. So to a degree, the tools that you're going to use and the approach and the plan that you're going to put together for someone who's not working anymore, they can't afford to lose, pretty much, right? Once you've retired, you don't have that income coming in from a job, so you don't want to lose what you've got. You're more concerned about taking those assets and turning them into an income stream. So I think depending upon where you're at in that phase and understanding really where that advisor kind of focuses is another really important thing. So trust but verify, find someone who matches where you're at, or their strengths match where you're at in the investment life cycle.
Be sure and join us again after the break. I'll be back with Cody Foster with Advisors Excel. And thanks for listening to Real Estate 101.
Southwest Topeka has a good neighbor. State Farm agent Jim Garrison, now at 29th and Urish. If your current insurance situation has you going around in circles, get off the roundabout and stop in and meet Jim and his wonderfully efficient staff. Let Jim Garrison give you a quote and make the Garrison comparison. He's confident that with State Farm's competitive rates, the right coverage, and his unmatched service, you'll want to make him your new insurance agent. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and Jim Garrison is there for you, northeast of the roundabout at 29th and Urish.
This is Officer Mitch Soden with a safe driving tip from your Topeka Police Department. Your seatbelt serves many important functions. Cars are designed to crumple on impact, and the seatbelt will keep you restrained within the occupant area. The seatbelt is designed to absorb and dissipate forces through the large bone structures of the body through placement and stretching. Statistics show that those involved in collisions wearing seatbelts have faster recovery times and lower medical costs than those who don't. So please buckle up.
This is Sergeant Colleen Stewart from your Topeka Police Department Crime Prevention Team. Spring is at your door, so are vacuums, alarm systems, magazine subscriptions, and fundraisers. Here's some information. Every peddler and solicitor is required to be licensed by the City of Topeka Clerk's Office, so ask for picture ID to confirm the name on the license. You have the right to see their license, and if they refuse, they can be ticketed. Make sure you call the police to report the incident. Sales are only allowed 1/2 hour before sunrise until 1/2 hour past sunset. Go to topeka.org to find out more. Together we can make Topeka the safest capital city in America.
They just told us right away that we're going to house you, we're going to feed you, and every single one of his medical bills is just all taken care of.
They've saved my family from financial ruin. It allowed me and my wife both to focus on the most important thing, which was the health and well-being of our son.
We have phenomenal research, outstanding clinical care, and the generosity of public, which allow us to treat patients regardless of what it takes. And that's what makes St. Jude so magical.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Doctors send us the toughest cases to be treated at St. Jude, and our patients come from all over the world.
When we come here, they told me, don't worry, everything being taken care of.
We could never repay St. Jude for what they've given us.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti. Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
Thanks for joining us again. You're listening to Real Estate 101. I'm Karey Brown, broker-owner of Realty Executives Preferred Advisors, and back with Cody Foster with Advisors Excel. So we all saw the building go up. It used to be Ed Marling's, and now it is Advisors Excel. I hear so many great things about all the charitable work you guys do, and you just got this fabulous team that works for you. Tell us more about who is Advisors Excel.
It's a good question. A lot of people still don't quite understand what we do. So Advisors Excel, we started 12 years ago. I've been in business 12 years, approaching, 13 next year in February. But really, we sit in between independent financial advisors kind of all across the country and then financial institutions that have products for sale. So, for example, Security Benefit here in town, which probably everyone knows or sees their building off of Wanamaker when they're driving. That's one of the companies that we represent and do a lot of business with. So we work with about 40 different insurance companies, and on kind of the investment side, hundreds of companies on the investment side. So these independent advisors come to an organization like us because they don't want to have to try and sift through all of these different products to find the best solution for their client. So our job is really to say, okay, for what your client's trying to accomplish, this is the best product or collection of financial products that we think could help them accomplish their goals. So that's really what we do. We don't face the public. We work with the advisor and support their efforts in helping their clients. Really, this was my first job out of college, so went to work at another firm that does a very similar thing to us. Was there for about 4 years, left. Dave, my partner, and I were going to be financial advisors, and I thought it would be really easy, and found out, being a small business owner, going from this organization where there were 160 employees, and if you needed something done, you were able to just send it off to someone and it would get done, to the two of us, and, anything you wanted done, you had to do and figure out. We just started talking about there wasn't a great support system for these independent financial advisors. So after about a year of doing that, decided to start Advisors Excel. Derek, our third partner, joined us, started in February 1st of 2005, technically is what we say. So, and then it's just, it's grown. We kind of hit a need in the market and have been able to attract and work with a lot of the top advisors across the country, and it's allowed us to continue to add value and grow the services that we offer them. And it's been a fun 12 years.
So what all does Advisors Excel have as far as employee-wise? you guys have ranked really high as far as being a great place to work. Tell us about what you do to make that such a great place to work.
Yeah, so it was neat. We actually won this. It's called Great Places to Work or something like that. And we were only the second company in the state of Kansas to ever be awarded that designation. I'm not sure exactly what it is that we do. I mean, we try and do a lot of things, I think, to make it a fun place to work, but not in the sense of like, we don't have ping pong tables and we don't have beanbag chairs and stuff like that I think a lot of times people think about. I think when people ask us about the culture of what we've tried to create, I say more than anything, I hope our employees feel like we care about them. And I think we try and make decisions with that in mind. Does this demonstrate that we care about the people who work for us? So we try and do a lot of fun, family events, things like that. But ultimately, I think more than anything, we've just tried to create a culture where people feel respected when they come to work, and we've tried to invest a lot in their personal and professional development, and maybe don't do a lot of the fun things that you hear of other companies doing, or seem to be the trendy things today. But sometimes I think those cover up for the fact that, the workplace may not care about the people working there.
Let's talk about all the charitable things you guys do. You're all over the place. I know that you're really good at helping with women's own businesses and things along those lines and charitable things that go towards that. How do you pick a charity that you work for?
Yeah, well, so it's a little different, right? We try and do some things from a corporate standpoint, and then, I do some things personally, and we kind of try and distinguish some lines between those two. I think from a corporate standpoint, we're always looking at what can we do to make our community better. And those are the places that we're trying to invest. From the women-owned business, our chief marketing officer and our chief financial officer are both women and just have a passion for that and have done a great job with that. But I think, education's been a big one for us, some of the poverty issues that we see in town. But the other thing that we've done that was a game changer for us is really engaging our employees and going out and serving. So it's not just about giving money to organizations, but actually manpower. And what we found is a lot of these groups need manpower as much as they need money. They need them both, right? So I think that's been one of the things that's been just a game changer for us. Every week we send about 35 to 40 employees out. So you go once a quarter if you work at Advisors Excel during work time. So we usually go out from noon to 5 once a week with a group of about 35 to 40 employees from all different departments across the company and serve in the community. And we've been able to help a lot of organizations, but I tell everyone all the time, the benefits to us have far outweighed any benefits that we've given, to any of these organizations in town. Just seeing people come back and kind of the camaraderie it's built, and the, we're in a service business, so people come back pretty grateful, and which leads to better service from that standpoint. So it's been a fun way to get our employees involved in the efforts that we have in our community too.
And it seems to just grow a life of its own. I know for us, we're constantly giving back to the school systems and different church organizations, and really our seller picks who we give. We donate 5% of our own commissions from each sale to something that our seller has designated. So we really love it, and the schools have really gotten a hold and started supporting us because obviously they know that they're going to get money from us whenever we do that. Just in general, helping with Habitat for Humanity, all the different charities. We really enjoy it too, and we have found that it's more rewarding than you would ever expect.
I say that's one of the things I've learned in life is, typically speaking, the person who's giving always gets blessed more than the receiver from that standpoint. So
absolutely, and we've met a lot of great people. So we enjoy it too. And we've started doing lunch and learn. So if you have a business that is wanting to educate their employees as far as buying a house, investing, selling, there's so many questions to be asked. There's a lot of for sale by owners that we would have liked to have at least been able to teach how to do it so that they don't get taken advantage of. There are so many different aspects in real estate that can easily be taught to the public. So if you are interested in that, give us a call at 785-213-5188. Cody, tell them how to get a hold of Advisors Excel should they have questions if they want to be involved in your business.
So probably the easiest way is just to go to our website, advisorsexcel.com. We're always hiring. It seems like there's always positions posted there. So if someone's looking, we have a career page out there that people can go to if they are looking for a financial advisor to work with. We have some great ones here in town that we work with that just do an amazing job, and be happy to refer them to any of them also.
Absolutely. And if you're looking to buy or sell, our website is the most accurate place to go, even more so than Zillow, because we do syndicate with all of the MLSs, and that's Kansas City, Lawrence, Topeka, and Manhattan. So visit our website, Northeast, it's nekansashomes.com. And again, give us a call if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest at 785-213-5188, or you can email us at preferredadvisorsteam@gmail.com. Thanks for listening to Real Estate 101.
Thank you for listening to Real Estate 101 with the Karey Brown team from Realty Executives Preferred Advisors. Tune in again next Sunday at 11 o'clock for Real Estate 101.